Today I want to share with you the most important steps you have to take if you are planning to move and live in Spain, as I did 5 years ago. And also at the end of the video, I'm going to share with you my experience with the best things about living in Spain, the most important and crucial learning I got from my experience living here. I actually was talking to a client yesterday. As you know, we have a real estate agency here, and a client just moved from United States, and she was very worried because she was scammed. It's not the first American that actually arrived here and tell me that they are scammed. Actually, both of these clients that came from United States were scammed. They are from Miami. This one yesterday, she called me. She was worried because she was searching for properties in Idealista. She was scammed from someone that asked money, and at the end she lost the money and she didn't get the property. And then she called me. We talked about 10-15 minutes, and I explained her how Spain works in terms of renting. And then she was surprised that she was actually not prepared for paying 3 months in advance, 6 months in advance, and it's quite common here. They ask you 12 months in advance. Just if you rent a room for yourself, then you can maybe pay monthly. But if you are planning to rent an apartment, a house, you're gonna be ready for paying 3 months, 6 months, even 12 months in advance, plus 2 months deposit. That's something that is happening here. So I'm just sharing with you so you can maybe take care if you come here, if you are planning to move. Because when we moved here 5 years ago with my family, we actually have a channel on YouTube. We started showing everything that was happening in our life. I'm going to leave a link for the channel here if you want to access. It happened with us as well. It was really difficult to find a place. And that's why I'm going to share with you now the steps for you to create a plan. Then you can maybe avoid some of these mistakes many people do. And the first thing I would suggest you is visit Spain first, because many people, they just move straight. They don't know the areas like Costa del Sol, for example. When we moved here 5 years ago, we actually didn't know where we were going to live. We end up renting an apartment in Fuengirola. We lived there almost 1 year in 2020, and we struggled at the beginning to find a place to rent long term. As you may know, we have here in Spain, many of the owners, they are afraid to rent the properties because if you don't pay after the second or the third month, they can maybe not ask their money back. This is one of the biggest problems for the people, the immigrants that are planning to move and live here in Spain. Visit the city or the area that you want to move in first. In our case, for example, we moved from Brazil. We came here in Marbella, and then when we land here, we arrived, we like it, and then we decided to live in Fuengirola at the beginning because many people were saying that Marbella was expensive. So this is the second suggestion I will give you. You can pay for a consultancy. That's something we still do for some Brazilians that are planning maybe to move here. They get in touch with us, they got to know about us, our YouTube channel called Costa Digital, and then they pay 50 euros. We talk for an hour, and then they ask us everything they want to know, and we can guide them through the process. This is a very productive, very worth thing you can do, to pay someone for a consultancy, and then you can just come here. When you come, you are already prepared. They can talk about everything. Like yesterday, I was talking to this American. She was asking me a lot of things, and she didn't know most of the things about renting a property here. It's totally different from the United States, from Brazil, from different countries. Pay attention to this. It will help you a lot. And if you can do a consultancy, try to hire someone, maybe a lawyer, get in touch with someone that can guide you, that can, by their experience, save you a lot of time. Next thing is planning. Planning, where are you moving to? How is the situation there for work? Like, for example, when we moved here, I planned to be a personal trainer the first 1 or 2 years until we set up our life, until we can rent a place long term. And then if we rent this place, are we happy there? That's the thing. Imagine if you are moving from another country. If you intend to work in real estate, for example, you're probably not going to be experienced on the area. You're not going to know people. We don't have clients for selling real estate. And that's why I planned to work as a personal trainer. So you can plan to work as a waiter, aestheticist, hairdresser. You can do different things to start your life, things that can it may be easier for you to start making some quick money. So after you decide these kind of things, ask yourself, when is the best time to move? I was surprised that yesterday this American client called me. She's here in July looking for properties in the middle of the high season. It's crazy. That's the worst scenario. That's the worst time of the year could be here looking for renting a property. That's another very important advice. When is the best time to move? I would say probably from November to February. That's the best time of the year you can be here looking for a long-term place to live. And then ask yourself, why am I moving to Spain? Is it really important for me? Because at the end of the day, you have to analyze everything. You're going to spend a lot of money, energy. It's going to be difficult for you. Other thing that I just experienced, because I lived in Barcelona in 2006, it was the best year of my life, because that time I arrived actually in the first week, I was robbed pretty much everything I had, and then I was like shocked. I was almost in panic, but I was so in love with Barcelona in 2006 in April, almost summer, and then it was so easy to find a job. Next day I was working, I was sharing flyers at the streets, I was making a good money, a lot of money actually, working 5 or 6 hours a day, doing the very easy jobs. It's a very, very different time than 2006. Everything changed, the inflation, the costs, the housing problem. Before there was no housing problem. The prices are quite easy to rent a property that time. Why am I talking about my experience in Barcelona? Especially for you to realize there are scammers and thieves from everywhere. In Barcelona, they are professionals. And here, Marbella, Costa del Sol, we are hearing many cases of people being robbed. So take care. This is something that is growing. You have to plan and ask yourself, why am I going there? In the case when I moved to Barcelona, I got a lot of experience. I speak a lot of English there, Spanish, I study a little bit, and then I just enjoyed summer making money, studying and making friends. It's really worth it when you know why you are doing. But in my case, for example, I came back the end of the year when I was in Barcelona because I didn't have any money anymore, because when the summer finished, I didn't have work anymore. And that's one of the most important advice you can have. Plan what you are intending to do, because many of the jobs like waiters, for example, just during the high season. So you have to plan how you are coming here and do this transition until you can be able to make a consistent money. And this is a problem in general in real estate, because working in real estate is really, really difficult in any part of the world. So if you are going to another country intending to work in real estate, I would say 95% of the people are normally wrong on their mindset. They don't have any idea of what they are doing, because they think it's just coming here and starting a company, and then the next day or the next week they will have a car from the company, they will have the clients waiting for them to start showing luxury houses. And I was surprised that I met many people like that. They don't have any idea about what is real estate in real practice. And that's why many people are coming here, staying for a while, they cannot make it, and then they come back to their countries because they don't plan, they don't study, they are not prepared to be an entrepreneur. Like being an agent is being an entrepreneur. It means that you need to have savings. So in real estate, you need to have savings. It's like a business. You need to have savings to pay until the business start making money. And in real estate, 1 year is like 1 month in a normal life, and can take years sometimes for you to start picking it up, start having a fluent money, fluent income, and make profit at your business. And in life is the same. Like if you're planning to move to Spain, you need to have savings. I would say that's the most important thing, to have some savings, because you're gonna have surprises. In my case, when we moved, we got the COVID. 2 weeks after we arrived here in Spain, we rented our apartment. We wanted to start a new life, start working, and then suddenly lockdown in all Spain for 3 months. We panicked. The fuck is happening? What are we going to do? We were like shocked, and that fear was really bad for us to start our life here. Something like that can happen with you. Imagine if I didn't have savings for staying, because in my case, we stayed pretty much all the year just waiting the COVID to stop. And then you have to be prepared. If you don't have savings, you're probably going to spend all your money. You're going to come back to your country very soon. And I see many immigrants from different countries, they are just trying, giving a chance to move without having savings because they just want to try. But I think it's a better decision if you can just stay in your country a bit more time and work better, work more, create a saving account for you to have this safety net and this is financial structure to set up your life here, to rent a property and then to start working in different kind of business until you just start making money consistently, having an income. Then you can be able to stay and enjoy the best part of Spain. Because what happens normally when you move to another country like Spain, you are going to be focusing just on work. You cannot enjoy your life if you're always and constantly worry about how can I make money, how can I pay my bills. What is the point of being in a paradise if you are always worried, always looking for money, like always working like crazy, like a robot? So that's something you have to think about. Are you willing to do that? Are you willing to work hard enough and plan enough for you to come and be successful here? And there's another thing that I found out, that if you come alone by yourself, in my opinion, is more difficult than if you have a wife or a husband with kids. It means if you are alone, it's more difficult because you don't have a structure, you have someone to support you emotionally, but we know sometimes the people don't support you, so that's another problem. But if you have a family like me, for example, I have my experience living in Barcelona, moving to New Zealand alone, and then I compare now when I have my kids, I have my wife to support me. It's much easier, especially because the emotional side. You have some structure for you to have this like your base for you to work harder, enjoy the life in a simple way. I don't need to have a Ferrari, I don't need to have a luxury villa. I enjoy the beach, I enjoy the sun, the swimming pool at the urbanization. So there are some simple things in life that you can enjoy even more than luxurious ones like going to fancy parties or having a fancy car. I don't need that to be happy. But you do really need to have emotional structure to connect your heart, your feelings with someone that you love or you care about. That's another point that I'm getting in now. The friendship. This is something I realize it's the most hard thing here, to create deep connections, deep friendshipness. It's really difficult because, as I mentioned earlier, you are always here with people that are coming and going, and it's really hard to create these connections, the friendshipness. That's what I miss most from my country, my family and my friends, the people that I like to share my experiences, my fears, my doubts. So I just call them, we sit down and get a beer or smoke a joint and talk about life, these kind of things. And by the way, I don't smoke joints anymore. I'm gonna talk about it very soon. But now let me share with you the most important thing I learned from my experience living here in Spain for 5 years. It has to do with what I'm talking about now, that is difficult things, challenges. You know what I learned? That all the challenges that I passed through, that's a blessing in the sky. That's a really important thing for you to grow in life. And in my case, I used to smoke weed. I used to smoke marijuana for a long time, daily. I was depressed. And when I went to Barcelona, I used to smoke that. I was enjoying life at parties, working at parties, making fun, making friends. And then I was living a fake life. And we have it all over the world. Marbella, it's a fake city, a superficial city in some parts. And the parties, the people trying to show they are rich and they are not. Some fake people all around living a fake life. I was living this kind of fake life, smoking weed and having fun and trying to date different girls every night, every week. And I was like thinking that would be something interesting for me, but it was not. When the summer stopped, when I was in Barcelona, everything fall down. The point I want to comment with you is that your weak point, in my case now, I'm talking about smoking marijuana. All my life, this was my weakest point. When I was depressed, when I was not happy, when the life was difficult for me, I used to smoke. And some people, maybe they go and eat something, or other people go to drink something, you name it. There are many things that you use trying to substitute that for facing our problems, facing our fears. The most important thing I learned in all my experience here in Spain is that when you start facing your fear, you're gonna overcome this barrier, and then you're gonna start growing and prospering and thriving in your life, because that's the point for you to pay attention to. In my case, many times I was thinking, oh, I'm not sure if I'm gonna make it, really worried about maybe having to come back to Brazil, and I didn't want it because in Brazil I didn't have so much sun, I didn't have beach, I didn't need to speak English, and I love to challenge myself like I'm doing now, speaking English. And by the way, one of the things why I started talking in English, because I really want to learn. It's really important for my brain, for my health. If my brain, my mind is working well, my body is working well. I'm sharing all of this with you because when I really started focusing on myself and strongly facing my negative, my problems, my limitations, like smoking weed, for example, here in Spain is so easy. Almost everyone smoke. They smoke joint, they smoke weed, they smoke porro, hashish. It's the country where you see people smoking everywhere and drinking everywhere. There are so many bars. There are bars everywhere. You have to be really strongly committed to your improvement, to your development. What do you want to achieve in life? Do you want to really live here, and why? Why are you living here? In my case, it was quite difficult sometimes to decide if I really wanted to be here. That's a very important question because you are far from your family, far from your friends, and this personal development process is for me being a blessing in disguise. And then also we started going to the church. So if you can combine your mentality, your mindset to push through your fears, your negative limitations, and combine it with faith, a place you go to pray, independently which religion you are. You can be any religion, you can be a Buddhist, Catholic, Evangelic, whatever. For me, it doesn't matter. But if you can combine the mindset of a champion, pushing yourself, challenging yourself with the faith, believing in God, believing in something else that is much stronger than you, you're gonna succeed for sure. Of course, using everything I talked about before, like coming here first, asking why, where, and when I'm gonna move, doing maybe some consultancy or watching a lot of videos on YouTube to get information before you come, plan, save, and then you move, and then it's much easier for you to succeed. I want to thank you guys for watching the videos. If I could maybe inspire you or help you in some way with this information, I'm gonna be really happy and grateful, and share with me in the comments if you like it. If you have some doubts, maybe if you want me to do another video about this kind of things, just leave it in the comments. Okay, thank you very much. See you at the next video.